There we go. We're already live. Happy days. Well, you got to hear about Mothman, everyone, so that's always a plus. Uh,
Today,
Welcome
amazing.
to this edition of Speed Dating. You may have heard we've had some technical issues this morning, and this is no exception. So, the joys of running live sessions. So, joining us today, so my name is Jack Kay. I am on the solutions team here at Clarity Street. And so, hosting this session, we've got with us Ned from Apxium, Darren from TaxFitness, Garth from Atosa, Stacey from RadiusCore, Lee from Onboard Me, and Alex from RecHound. So, welcome. It's really exciting to have you all here. The first thing is I've got a quick poll for everyone. Aside from hearing a bunch of small talk prior to the session actually meaning to have started, I'd be really keen to understand why everyone's joined us today. So I've launched that there. So we've got one of the, as you saw one of the apps in one of the emails, and you're like, I need to know a bit more about that. You just want to suss things out. And I will be offended if no one clicks just here for the vibes after hearing all about Mothman. So there we go. So we've got, I'll let it keep going through. So we've got half the people who have responded so far. Fantastic. And Mothman didn't make the cut. However, it looks like a couple of the vendors here did today because we've got about a third of people who have seen someone they're already interested in, and two-thirds keen to explore. So I think it's a really good way to start. Uh, so today, why are we here? So speed dating was largely created. Amy Holdsworth, the CEO of Clarity Street, we were sitting around one day and thinking, it must really suck to have to sit down through a million demos, each of which lasts 30 minutes an hour. So we kicked off speed dating as a way for us to uh, expedite the process of people who are keen on learning a bit more about the accounting profession and the apps that are available to them. So tons of apps, there's not much time, and just sometimes it's good to go in there and just get a bit of a brief overview of what's happening. And then deep dive from there. So you may have also heard, so idea is we'll be each person today will be having 6 minutes to present their application or their service. At the end of which we'll be doing a poll, so you'll have a chance to actually get in there and say, "Yep, I want to have a chat," and they'll reach out after the session today. So for those of you that don't know, uh, Clarity Street. So we are essentially cloud integrators for the accounting profession. So we help firms, A, who are already in the cloud, optimize their cloud infrastructure and get things all connected. And we also provide some consulting around workflow. And we also provide a coaching service called Project 95 for practice managers and admin team members. So we're kind of knee deep in the tech and the workflow businesses, which was why we've invited these amazing panelists today to show a bit more about what they're doing to see if it can help you guys out as well. So without further ado, Garth, shall I hand it over to your good self?
All right. Hopefully I am now sharing a screen. That's
Yep.
working. Yep, thumbs up. Excellent. All right. Thanks, Jack. Atosa is software designed to save accountants time and reduce errors by automating the ATO statement reconciliation. It automatically connects to ATO systems and imports taxpayer data, including taxpayer lists, activity statements, and taxpayer accounts. It analyzes ATO data and pre-populates reconciliation work papers, including the GST and wages recs, and it enables customization of your reconciliation work papers to look and feel just like the ones you already use, including RadiusCore work papers, which Stacey will discuss next. Atosa also has an API that enables other software providers to access the underlying data with your permission, and it enables you to access the underlying data if you want to build your own systems. The main benefits of Atosa are that it saves time extracting information from the tax agent portal and entering that information into reconciliation work papers. It reduces errors from manually entering data. It reduces monotonous, mind-numbing work for staff. But most importantly, Atosa stays up when the ATO goes down, so you can continue on with your work. Here we have a taxpayer selected. I'll go to the activity statement report. This summarises the activity statements. It also caters for multiple CAC accounts. We can generate an Excel reconciliation report. Here we have the summary tab, which contains all the activity statement data. We have the prior period statement tab, which includes the PAYG installment for use in your franking account and tax provision work papers. We have the GST Rec summary, which reconciles GST, sales and purchases. And we have the wages rec, which reconciles salary and wages and PAYG withholding between activity statements, PAYG withholding ledger, payroll reports, and STP finalisation. We also have an account summary report, which shows the movement within client accounts based on transaction groups. And this can be prepared on an accruals basis or using the ATO's process date or effective date. There's also a client account detail page. In this case, we're looking at the integrated client account, and it shows the underlying transactions in detail, as you can see here for, say, the general interest charge. We also have a client account transaction report, which contains all client accounts in Excel format, pre-filtered with grouping already applied to the transactions. Other things we're working on are lodgement status listings, including for taxable payment annual reports, which should be in by the end of the month, and client account balance reports showing the current balance, overdue amounts, and any payment arrangement indicators, such as whether one is in place, and if so, whether the status is complying, in arrears, or in default. If you'd like a demo or you want to jump straight in and try out Atosa for free, you can click one of the buttons in the top right-hand side of the screen. And now I'll hand over to Stacey to talk about RadiusCore.
Thanks, Garth. We're using Atosa at PKF for a whole bunch of cool things. One of them is embedded in the RadiusCore work papers, which is a solution that was originally based out of New Zealand that's recently released a set of Australian work papers. It was built for those of us who still love using Excel, as most accountants do, but need smarter, faster, and more connected workflows. It's essentially just an Excel add-in that's been built on top of standardized and automated work papers without needing to switch to a rigid browser-based work paper system. You can customize anything and everything if that's what you want, or you can use the full suite of work papers that are available off the shelf. Other than not having to update your own templates each year, which is something that I love a lot, the coolest parts as of right now are the connections to your source data like Xero to pull in client trial balances and subledgers and other reports, and Atosa, as Garth just showed. So this means that we have 100% fully automated GST recs. Garth is going to show an example on screen now of that. Garth, I can see still just the RadiusCore website. So
where my sharing is failing. Let me try and fix sharing.
That's okay. While you change that. So yeah, we've got 100% fully automated GST recs, wages recs, and provision for income tax work papers. There's also an ethos of never touching the same piece of data more than once. So work papers like the franking account, income tax rec, payroll tax rec, super rec also get pre-filled with this data, as well as the info from the Xero file. Interest expense from a loan work paper flows through to the P&L interest expense work paper and more things like that. It's also that our accountants are spending their time doing accounting work as opposed to data entry. If the supported balance reconciles, you don't touch these work papers at all. If they're out of balance, then the accountant is going straight to spending their time, doing the accounting work as opposed to having to second guess the data, check for typos or things like, did they pick up last year's June BAS instead of this year's balances? Using their accounting skills and knowledge on actually reconciling the accounts. Best practice workflow processes and technical content are also built in. So for example, if there's a variance in, say, the GST rec, the work paper tab below what you can see there guides them through things to spend a max of, say, 10 minutes checking before going back to their job manager rather than spending 3 hours down a rabbit hole of time that we just can't recover. There's heaps of other cool features, like there's a built-in digital signature set for preparer, manager, and partner reviews with a full audit trail, and Garth's got an example of that he can bring up as well.
Not there at the moment though, Stacey?
No, sorry, we're still looking at the GST.
Right, yeah, I'll
That's
share
okay.
again.
Work papers are also auto-predicted and drafted based on the Xero report codes. If we get the index up on screen, that index also, so here you go, it's just showing the inbuilt digital signatures and your audit trail there, which Lee will love my kind of loose circling instead of neat lines, but that's okay.
Beautiful.
The index, Garth, you might have to stop and share again, shows the status of all tabs and whether they reconcile to the GL balance. Manual journals can be prepared and written back into the Xero file once they're reviewed and approved. There's also a lot more coming on the roadmap, including building in some intelligence. I refuse to jump on the buzzword bandwagon and say AI. things just like looking at the current balance of aged debtors, telling you historical payment patterns of those customers, and suggest considerations for bad debt provisions. So if you're stuck still juggling multiple spreadsheets, templates, and disconnected data, RadiusCore gives you the flexibility of Excel with the structure and smarts of cloud-based software. We use RadiusCore workpapers at PKF alongside things like Atosa for e-signing as part of our overall tech stack to fast track our compliance work as much as possible. If you're interested to see what they look like, how they work, and what else is coming, please connect with me on LinkedIn. I can send you the recording of a live webinar Andrew Pullen and I did recently, or book in a demo. And if you like the idea of the RadiusCore Blue Zero connector without the full workpaper set, you can also subscribe to that standalone. And I know my time's up, Jack, so I will stop it there.
With the menagerie of technical issues we've had this morning, you're welcome to have the extra 29 seconds, Stacey. That's absolutely no problem. So poll is running now. There'll be a secondary poll in just a second for Atosa. We've had a question from Jackie. Hi, Jackie. Garth, can Atosa download reports BASs from the ATO as PDF?
Not at this stage.
Okay, cool. Happy days. And, we obviously had a bit of a different scenario now. We've got 2-in-1, which is always fun. But can you maybe just explain why we're doing a 2-in-1 with Atosa and RadiusCore?
Because we integrate well. So Atosa pulls the data from the tax office, and RadiusCore pulls the data from Xero. So that's where you get your rec complete. Perfect.
Any other questions from anyone else in the audience or other panelists? Anything to say? Once again, Mothman, Alex, welcome to give us a bit of a chat around that.
No, I've got that in my slides now, don't worry.
Beautiful. Happy days. All right, cool. Sweet as. Well, it looks like we are on. So next up, Ned, my dearest and oldest friends, I'll hand it over to yourself if you wouldn't mind sharing a screen and kicking us off.
Of course, I've shared the wrong screen, so let's start that again.
Never meant to be easy, Ned.
Like clockwork, this.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Just double checking we've got the right one sharing. You can see Apxium.
Yeah, can see Apxium.
Yeah, great. Excellent.
Yeah.
So thanks. So my name's Ned. I'm head of sales here at Apxium. I've been in the industry for 25 years now. And it's great to have Stacey on the call today, who's also an Apxium client. So that's where Apxium sort of started, with our Collect platform for debtors management. We've also got a platform for Audit Safe for audit insurance done different. We're here today to talk about tax pay, and it's probably a really hot topic at the moment. So does anyone on the call have clients with ATO tax debt? I don't know, any accountants with clients with ATO tax debt? I think everyone does. So obviously there's a big touch point in the industry at the moment. There's $100 billion in ATO tax debt, and there's been a couple of changes coming from the ATO. General interest charges no longer deductible, which is a pretty big change, but it gets worse because pretty much our firms are saying payment plans are getting harder to get. Also, if you historically, the ATO would, you just call back a couple of times and you get someone who would be willing to remit the interest. It is becoming a lot harder to get that. I can see Stacey nodding in agreement. So the summary of this is... The summary of this is the ATO is no longer going to be a bank. So it's just that simple. They're exiting the banking of post-COVID. They sort of let it all ride, and pretty much their instructions are to no longer do that. So I think if you're going to use TaxPay, that's great, but you're just going to need solutions. Whether it's us or whether it's someone else, every accountant is going to need to be able to provide advice in this area. So why TaxPay? It's a very simple application. It's all digital, provides a flexible evergreen facility for your clients. They can constantly draw on it, and it is an unsecured lending platform. So what are the most common uses? Obviously, they need to clear their tax debt, but just lots of people like to pay off big bills over months instead of upfront. So, who pays their insurance monthly is another good example. Lots of people do. So the platform then gives them this unsecured, flexible line of credit. We've also got a lot of clients at the moment looking to just swap their plans over. So the ATO non-deductible means their existing plans are no longer deductible. So they're cycling off that onto a TaxPay to move to a deductible platform. So accountants, we always love detail. So part of our risk mitigation strategy here is we settle direct to the ATO. So we don't give the money to the client and they go and buy a boat. We settle direct to the ATO. The loan interest rate is pretty attractive, 9% over 12 months. There's no setup cost for you. There's no setup costs for your clients. As I said, it's unsecured, personally guaranteed, business only. So it provides them that every facility, really digital platforms. They can if they can't make a payment, they can do a repayment holiday and just kick it down the road. The drawdown is the initial payment and the monthly principal, full month interest in advance. There is no penalty for early repayment, but we reimburse full month's interest paid. Just a bit of a calculator on that. Probably just a really good point, because whilst it's great to show who it does suit, we should also just establish who it doesn't suit. So this is designed for good businesses looking to smooth out their tax debt. We're not a lender of last resort, or we're not an asset-backed lender. There are lots of providers in that space. My sort of rule of thumb is, would you lend the client money? If not, then probably we're not going to either. There are obviously some fees associated with it. Credit card is an interesting one. Lots of clients are wanting to put their business tax debt on their credit card. They can get the points. And we're actually, because of this, we're also about to launch Amex. Stacey's horrified, but small business owners love it. So just some eligibility criteria. Nothing here unusual. There are some sort of flexibility. So, for example, net tangible assets of over 200 grand. However, we're happy to look at doctors, lawyers, high profit businesses as well. That gives you some idea of what the clients are we're looking for. If you do have a client with some scenario, hey, just send it to us. We're happy to have a look at it and just give you some feedback on it. So the process is we get you to sign an introducer agreement. It's really designed for accountants. So part of that is just, we don't represent you, you don't represent us, just as the privacy. Then the accountant will introduce us to the client. You're not recommending or referring us, you're just introducing us. Then the borrower just e-signs a consent to say, hey, yes, the accountant can upload documents. We get the documents from you. Again, bit of a risk mitigation, but also makes it really easy for the end client if we can get the documents direct from the accountant. We then assess, then the borrower, all digital, confirms paperwork and obviously does the know your client. Then they've got the facility and they can go and draw on it. What are the documents we get from you? A couple of years financials, nothing unusual. You can see on the right here, the platform. We obviously need the ATO integrated client account because we want to settle all of the debt. All good. On the left, you can see ATO payment plan bad. On the right, tax pay solution good. We've got this in a PDF that we can send to you after today and also go and send it out to your clients. So we can send the presentation, introducer agreement. There's a tax pay calculator. There's lots of support here available to get in touch with us. We will have conversations with your clients as well. And just checking that the screen has, user error. Has that shared okay?
What are you sharing?
I'm trying to share the actual application. Has that not worked? Hang on, what if I just reshare to the screen where it is? How's that?
Perfect.
Great, excellent. So you can see this is the Apxium platform. That's where Collect, Audit, Safe is, and now TaxPay. So what I've just done is I've gone into one that we've sent out to a client, so you can see that the how you go and tick boxes to say yes, we've done that, and just upload the documents to us. It's all digital experience, and so we send the client the offer. So you can see it's all branded with you, dear client. You've been introduced to this. Click for more information. Click for the flyer, or proceed with the application here through an all digital experience.
Perfect.
How to go for time, Jack?
Absolutely, absolutely nailed it. No worries at all. A bit of a spillover, but if things are worth saying, Ned, you got to say.
No worries. You're a good man. Thank you.
Kieran, Ned, do you have a max lend amount?
We don't have a max. Probably the sweet spot for us is 100 to 600,000. We have gone higher. We have gone lower. We'll look at anything. Was there a specific amount they were looking for, or?
Not too sure. Just popped it in the chat. So we've had quite a few people saying they want to have a chat with you. So no doubt Kieran's amongst them.
Yeah, great.
So,
excellent. Love to chat.
All right. Legendary. Any other thoughts, questions, feedback, theories, queries from anyone before we jump on to Lee? No. All right. Cool. Lee, you're up, my friend. On board me.
Hopefully I can break the curse of the screen sharing gremlins. I have one and one only. So yeah, Thanks for the time. So I guess OnBoardMe was born out of a realization that the client onboarding workflow for professional services firms is a somewhat disjointed process in the current landscape of apps. So the client onboarding workflow in our mind is broken up into kind of different parts, right? Some of those relate to engagements, depending if you do upfront billing, that sort of thing, payments, client onboarding, and then if you're an accountant, the good old no professional or ethical letter. And what we found that you have systems or apps that do one or the other, but no one that does all of it. And that can be a bit of a disjointed experience to your customers. So OnBoardMe was kind of born originally as a client onboarding app, and we've since kind of iterated into engagements, payments. So for payments, we've partnered with Pinch, who local Aussie company. Yeah, shout out to them. Just were acquired, living the dream, you know. So yeah, and then we do client onboarding and ethical. So engagements is really one or more signatories, and you can build kind of workflows to suit how you work. So you can send an engagement to a brand new client, an existing client. You can have multiple signatories. You can choose to create billing. Do you want to collect payment details, credit cards, direct debit? You can choose if you want to get paid up front. We can do on completion. Once a client has kind of accepted that engagement, we can move on to client onboarding. They can onboard themselves. You can do ID verification. You can also collect documents. So if you've got a preset list of documents you need them to upload, you can get them to upload that to OnBoardMe. They can upload one entity or multiple entities at the same time. And it's a fully branded experience. So you see the OnBoardMe stuff, but anyone who's using the system will only ever see your branding. We integrate into you can use us standalone, but we also integrate into XPM, Zero Ledger, Mile Practice Management. FYI, we have a whole bunch of other integrations kind of on the roadmap. Yeah, and that's really, I guess, the elevator pitch of what we do. There's a lot of nuances and a lot of different ways that people can do engagements and also how people can do client onboarding. And we hope to offer a very flexible solution. We have a 14-day free trial, and you're welcome to reach out to me. The contact details are actually on the bottom right. And for those of you who do come through the webinar, we do have an additional offer for you. That you can quote that you came from the webinar, and you'll get an additional time period free inside of our trial.
Sign me up. Perfect.
Take my money.
I was going to say, I've heard some really good things from mutual clients, actually, Lee. And so for anyone that is struggling with their onboarding process here in the session, or even just want to learn more about what's out there and what's possible, I would highly recommend smashing that yes please button or reaching out and having a chat with Lee. So it's a really solid little tool. Once again, questions, thoughts, queries, anything from my fellow panelists? That's a no. All right, cool. Happy days. That poll, I'm closing off that poll now. There'll be, for those of you who are like, oh no, the poll's gone. What do I do? At the end, we'll run another little poll with everyone there. So if you've missed out, you can click it again. Alex, good sir.
Thank you. So first off, thanks very much for inviting me on and having me. I really appreciate it. First and foremost, my assumption is that you had me talking about Mothman. So we're here to talk Mothman. No, not really. But this is the sighting from the 70s. It's real. And there's a statue and it's in West Virginia. So check it out. I'm just here to spread the good word. All right. Now, I'm here to talk about RecHound. I'm the co-founder. This is an application that I started 3 years ago. I've basically been using Xero for the last 6 years or so and found that balance sheet recs were quite difficult. So I've been working in internal finance teams doing that. So yeah, we built this tool, my brother-in-law and myself, over the last 3 years. Now we're here at speed dating, so I figured it would actually be remiss of me to not show you guys all our Tinder bio. So this is RecHound's Tinder. We're 3 years old, as I mentioned. It looks a bit creepy on this, so let's just press on. We work in balance sheet recs. We are looking for month-end efficiency, and we're based in Melbourne, Australia. So we enjoy live balances, simplicity, transactional clearing, and scones because we're still humans. About us, we're a balance sheet rec tool that integrates directly with Xero. We sync the balances every hour or whenever you choose to on top of that. We aim to solve the problem of inefficient, unstructured, Excel-based reconciliation. So we're primarily for like medium-sized businesses, but also we've seen, you know, larger accounting firms do it for all of their companies as well. And we have interests in clearing transactions that net off to Xero in any balance sheet account. So not just clearing bank recs, but you can clear any account, which is something that Xero doesn't offer you, which is a real shame. But we have that in our tool. We have interests in making your recs better governed, but not at the expense of time. So just on that, we see that in the time it takes to do a reconciliation in Excel, to actually dump the data out and then bring it all in and clear transactions, you can actually do 3 of them in the time it takes, 3 of them in RecHound in the time it takes to do 1 in a spreadsheet, unless you're using like a customized tool similar to RadiusCore that Stacey's mentioned earlier, which is just great as well. So on top of that, our interests are keeping our interfaces simple and user-friendly as possible for our users. So we've actually found that people who have never done balance sheet reconciliations before come in and use our tool quite proficiently from the start. It helps them understand what a balance sheet rec is, why it's important, and why they need to be done on a frequent basis. And if you're a kind of growing team, getting new people in all the time, it's these sorts of tools that really make the difference, I think, for new users, or if you're onboarding anyone new in your business in general. Our hobbies include clearing intercompany balances. So we, on top of the transactional matching to Xero, we can also do that for intercompany. Reviewing and approving your reconciliations, keeping them in like this governed environment, and using live transactions to support your balance. So any transactions that do change after the fact, they get notified directly in RecHound, and you can see them there straight away. You don't actually need to go back into Xero and, you know, hunt them down. If someone's posted them as of like 20 days ago, it's impossible to find. It's just there in front of you in RecHound. So any sort of rework or rescue jobs are made a lot easier. And we also enjoy long walks on the beach. And we are looking for someone who wants to clean up the way they're managing their recs. Long-term ideal, but happy to, you know, start short-term and just see if we're compatible kind of thing. And you can hit us up anytime at info@rechound.com or check me out on LinkedIn. I'm Alex Lakota. So just quickly showing you the interface. If there's any screen that I want you to remember outside of Mothman and our Tinder bio, it's probably this one. This is basically our home interface where you've got your companies here at the top and you've got a dashboard that you can access to view all of your companies as well. And you've got your months here down the side on the left. So it shows you your balance sheet here, any accounts that are valid for the month of June that we're in, they will be displayed and the balance is synced directly from Xero. The support item here shows you how much you've actually used to support your balance. So if we jump into an account, the trading account, for example, this is our bank. We can just copy that ledger balance and we can create a new supporting item for it. So we just add a manual support, call it, you know, this for a trading account, it would be like a bank statement as at 30 June. And you can easily then just, this is Random Australia Bank. We can just copy a screenshot of that, paste that into here. And now we've got like a perfectly supported reconciliation. So you can do that for any account. But the secret sauce of RecHound is actually helping you perform and produce those transactions by actually clearing transactions from within the account through RecHound. So we don't actually talk back to Xero. We read the data and we pull your transactions, but you can actually clear transactions in RecHound. So when you jump into your transaction listing in a merchant settlement account, for example, you can see all of your transactions here, but the beauty of it is that you can actually check anything that nets to Xero and you can hit this reconcile button and clear them from your account. They won't show up again in the future unless you want to bring them back from within the reconciled tab. So you might think like this is a huge account, this is going to take forever to just like go through and clear, but you can sort of do it backwards. So if we jump all the way to the bottom and we find this, there's a few transactions that actually make up the balance in our account. So the balance is made up of just these 6 transactions. We can hit the reverse selection button. It'll select everything else, and that'll equate to 0, and we can just hit the reconcile button and those transactions will be cleared. So whether you've got 5 there or 5,000, get rid of them for the first period, and then you're only looking at actually relevant transactions in your account. So you can jump in here and you can actually create support based on these transactions, and you can say to be cleared next payment. And when you jump into the following month in July, when you actually clear the transactions, so you can see these are our transactions, here's the clearing amount that's come through. We can reconcile that now. We jump back into June. We view those transactions because they're still relevant to the June balance. We view the transactions, but you can see it's marked here with future reconciled. So if you're an approver or reviewer, you'd be able to view the transactions, check that they have been reconciled, and you can see the actual reconciliation that was performed with them, like the clearing of that. And then you can just submit this for review, and then that locks it down and keeps it in a governed space. So yeah, that's kind of our tool in a nutshell. Anything else you want to talk about? Mothman, conspiracies, I love them.
Yeah.
Reach out anytime.
You had me at Mothman, but the rest sealed the deal. Like that's pretty cool. Big fan, Alex. Big fan. That's really awesome.
Thanks.
Stacey, I saw you nodding along there. Do we get a tick of approval from yourself?
Yeah, I've not seen it before, so I'm keen to catch up, Alex.
For sure. Likewise.
Happy days. Alrighty. So the poll is running. So smash that button. But any questions from the audience or from our fellow panelist friends? No. Okay, perfect.
I mean, I have one that is probably the best Tinder profile I've ever read. Not that I spend much time on Tinder, but well done. Like that is a great way to look at speed dating.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
It actually it's made my life a little bit, Alex. I'm pretty impressed. That's
if only my real profile was that good. No, I'm married.
Oh, that's amazing. Darren, I love your product. I love what you're doing there over at TaxFitness as well. I've got a bit of a history around the space that you're working in. So keen for you to share it as well. So over to you whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Thanks, Jack. Darren Gleason's my name. I'm the CEO and a co-founder of TaxFitness. TaxFitness is actually comprised of 3 lots of products or software modules. The first one, tax planning, we introduced in 2017. 2020, we brought in the business advisory, and 2021, the business benchmarking. Today, I will show you the business benchmarking. Can you all see my screen?
No.
Oh, no. Okay.
I'm glad you asked.
Do it again. Share screen. What about now?
Wunderbar. Perfect.
Okay, fantastic. We're looking at the business benchmark database. About 350 different benchmarks, industries. We're actually adding about an extra 5 per week. What makes our business benchmark database fairly unique is we're benchmarking against the top 20% of the firms in each industry. So we're not after the 50-50, we're not after the ATO benchmarks, we're after what the top 20% of the firms do. This is accounting practices, for example. These are some of the KPIs. The other thing is what we do is we only benchmark against the main 5 or 6 KPIs, okay? Which makes it understandable and effective for clients and also for the accountants. Okay, we'll jump into a client and I'll show you how business benchmarks work. Okay, change the year to 25, the data. Okay, first thing is we set up the client, we import the data from Xero in this case. In about a week, you'll also be able to import the data from QuickBooks, and in about a month from Mile. So that will be great. Okay, let's jump in, prepare a new report. Okay, we're not doing tax planning, we're doing benchmarking. Okay, the first thing is we need to select the industry. This is actually cosmetic injectables, which is actually my daughter's business, to tell you the truth. Okay. Do it for the 25 financial year. Okay, so how it's coded through Xero is how it imports. This is basically her numbers. So last year started the business, that was 10 months. This is the 12 months up to 30th of June 25. Why we like to benchmark against the top 20% is for the given level of turnover, she could have achieved $285,000 profit in that 12 months instead of 207. So from her point of view, an extra $78,000 of profit has evaporated because she hasn't met the KPIs of the top 20%. Over here on the right, we see the problem areas, owner's compensation, a little bit too high, a few overheads, but the big one is cost of goods sold, okay? So $58,000 of lost profit because our cost of goods sold is not meeting the benchmarks. Okay, as we said, cost of goods sold was her problem. We unticked these filters. We've got about 350 strategies in our pre-written in our benchmark. So we'll just top these. What can we do to reduce the cost of goods sold? What about material substitution? If we're not sure what that's about, open it up, have a quick read. 101, order in bulk, optimize inventory levels, and we're seeking international suppliers. What we also like to do is 4 or 5 strategies fixing the problem and 4 or 5 strategies increasing sales, because let's face it, everybody loves more sales, don't they? What works good in her business? Google reviews, Instagram reviews. We've implemented performance-based pay for staff, sales training, and increasing conversion rates. Okay, the other thing is, at the moment, we're selecting the strategies manually. In about a week or so, that little Get AI Selected button, click on that, and that will select strategies for you. Okay, here we go. Into the report. Once the horse stops running. Okay, here's our report. If we want, we can customize the report. If we want to take out net worth part, disclaimer, whatever we like. Naturally, the report would be in the subscribers' colors. The horse would disappear and have your logo there, of course. Okay, there's the profile, so we can run through with the client. You know, these are the main KPIs for the industry. And this is section 3 is probably the most important for the client. We actually sit down with them and say, you know, you've done $200,000 this year. We've KPI'd you against the top 20% in your industry. You could have had 285. Gee, you could have an extra $78,000 to pay down your mortgage. Pretty darn impressive. How are we going to do it? How are we going to increase sales? We've got all the numbers. Of course, we can actually have up to 4 years of comparatives as well. So anyway, that's all the data. The net worth. This is how we do it. You can customize all the wording as well if you want.
That's cool.
And basically, we for some businesses we do this monthly, some we do quarterly, some we do 6 monthly, and some we do annually. If you pretty much every accountant's got business clients, and what we say to them, if you're not doing business benchmarking, you probably should. If you're new to business benchmarking, the other thing is you may not know how to price it, you may not know how to sell it, you may not know how to educate the clients. So you come to our marketing and resources section, and we've got manuals how to do that. We get all the checklists, and that's pretty much it. If you're interested, you can go to the TaxFitness website, top right-hand corner, book a demo, and takes about 45 minutes, and I'll take you through the tax planning software, which has got AI selecting strategies now, which is pretty cool and exciting. And then through the business advisory software, and also the benchmarking in a bit more detail. And that's it, Jack.
Amazing. All right, I might just take over the sharing. I've got to say that even though we've had more technical errors, I think, they've ever had in any webinar or session ever, this is probably my favorite one. I've actually really enjoyed it. You know, everyone's products has been there, the energy, everything's really good. So just really want to take a second to really thank you guys for coming along and rolling with the punches and sharing what you're doing with everyone we've got on with this today. I'm just want to share my screen. We've got one final poll for everyone. So naturally, it's gonna make me work for it. So here we go. So basically, if you want to, I want to share the big finale. So if there's anyone today that you haven't actually checked the box on and that you want to have a chat with, I've shared that there today. If you want to have a chat with Clarity Street around your apps and what you're doing, please also feel free to jump in there and hit Clarity Street, and we'll give you a buzz. Additionally, for those of you that aren't in our database just yet, do feel free to jump in here and give that a scan and join. We've got some really good content that does come out quite regularly. That does feature our good friends here. I think everyone on today, we've got a blog post scheduled in over the next month, so you'll get to learn more and more about cool apps just like this. But Otherwise, any parting words of advice from my fellow panelists here today? Anyone else have anything else to say?
I want to be more like you, Jack. You were the coolest cucumber in the face of everything that went wrong.
I needed that today, Stacey. Thank you. All right. Well, we'll leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for coming along, both to my guests here and also everyone that attended. Happy Thursday, and we'll catch you soon.